Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you guys are here. Real quickly, I just want to say thank you to all the channel members. Thank you, and thank you to anybody who comes in to watch my knife, my EDC content, to check out what I'm doing. I really appreciate it. And today, I was going to go through my top 10 currently as of early 2024, actually early March, folding knives in my collection. So these are like the top 10. I've kind of gone through my collection, looked at them. If we were counting the top 11, this Quiet Carry Drift would be in here. This is in Vanex, titanium. It is basically an all-weather, rust-proof knife with great detent. Fantastic ergos for my hand, which all these knives we'll talk about, they are subjective. This is probably one of the most subjective videos I could do because I'm rating my knives in my collection from 10 to 1. And number 10, we have the Renegade Provisions God of Mischief, right? This knife is an absolute sweet knife. It is a deep hollow ground M390 blade. I got the DLC coated with the black titanium bolsters and the black micarta handles. It has fantastic action. It has an amazing cutout. A lot of people will say too sharp. I don't know, every time I flick that, if you can see the dust flying off the knife and off my fingernail, but it is an absolute stunner. It is super sharp, super slicey, ergonomically almost perfect for my hand, and very therapeutically slicey. Medium-sized knife, again, perfect finger choil, wonderful handle, wonderful clip. Again, for my hand, which is about 3.5 inches from here to here, this knife fits it like a dream. So coming in at number 10, we've got the Renegade Provisions, top flipping or front flipping, and reverse flicking God of Mischief. Moving on to number 9, we come to one of the more aggressively cool knives in my top 10. This is my Null Knives Voodoo that's now rocking some carbon fiber or fat carbon toxic scales. They've also got some black carbon fiber scales. But this knife from Null Knives, the Voodoo, got my attention before they dropped last year. I love the way it looks closed. I love the way the clip works. It is M390 titanium bolsters with this fat carbon. You've got this belt satin flats on your blade, and then you've got this nice stonewashed cutout there, which is the flicking hole. You've got thumb studs, which are more like thumb pyramids that make deploying this knife either reverse flick or with a thumb flick very easy. You've got enough lip to thumb flick the knife. And again, getting back to ergonomics, this knife fits my hand like an absolute dream. It is very much a splinter digger tip. Slicey as you'd want. And just an absolute banger. A knife that I really like. I love carrying it. I love using it. It's just a great medium to large size pocket knife. So coming in at number 9 will be the Null Knives Voodoo, which brings us to number 8. And this is my McNees Mac 2 3.5 in MagnaCut with the atomic finish. I forget what that pattern is. I don't know if that's a shock pattern, but that pattern's called something. This knife, guys, is for my medium-sized hand, large-sized hand. This knife works great, feels great, looks great. I love the finish. I love the hollow ground Magna Cut blade. It again is therapeutically slicey. They're made right here in my state of Alabama, and it has detent, it has drop. I put skiffs on this and it comes apart perfectly, goes together perfectly. It is simplistic elegance at its finest, and I'm really stoked that I was able to grab this when it became available because they are small batch. And this is the McNees Mac 2 3.5 inch. Coming in my collection at number 8, an absolute banger. I love it, carry it all the time. And that brings us to number 7, which will be one of the older knives in this collection of knives from my collection. This is my Brian Brown Yeager M, which would have been not the most recent version of the Yeager, but the version right before that. This is an EDC Specialties edition. I've done a couple of things to customize it out. It has the micarta frame lock, where the V2 or V3s had the bolster lock. You've got a micarta scale on the front. I have upgraded and added a Zerk kit, which includes the Zerk pivot collar, the Zerk clip, and the Zerk backspacer. This knife is also on skiffs. It has a black M390 blade that is super slicey, hollow ground, kind of a cleaver style knife. An EDC cleaver, I guess, is more accurate. Fluid action, absolute fantastic detent. One of my all-time favorites. I love this knife. The Yeager, it's one that I'd always wanted. Took me a while to get. The ergos are great on it. The deployment's great on it. It is, my version is a thumb hole or finger hole only. They also make this knife with a regular flipper as well. I chose for the flipperless version. But yeah, guys, this is number 7, and it is the Brian Brown Yeager, which brings us to number 6. This is my Medford Slim Midi. It is a DLT exclusive in S90V. It's got the falling leaves pattern on it. It's about 2 years old. It's also riding on skiffs. This knife is slim, ergonomic. This is the drop point version. Has some of the best action. It's the only Medford that I think I have that's on bearings, and I was able to get skiffs for this guy. It's just a beautiful knife, an absolute joy to carry. It's super thin. It's super slicey. Again, this is the drop point. They also have a Tanto. Whoops. Whoops. Those are cutter errors, guys. A little thicker blade, probably the beefiest. Well, I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely a beefy knife, even though it's the Slim Midi, or Midi Marauder, the Slim Midi Marauder. I love this knife. Super thin, basic titanium S90V, 2 slabs of titanium S90V, a couple of skiff bearings and some hardware, and you've got a Medford Slim Midi. Love this guy. Number 6, and we will now move on to number 5. And I can't believe this knife's as far back as number 5, but these are knives that I have been gushing over, that are my all-time, as of right now, March 2024 favorites. And this is my Zeba S5 Custom with the Odin pattern. Got some ruins there on the top. Got some just really nice, deep, intricate artwork. Clip, you've got Till Valhalla. The backspacer is these jeweled skulls. It also comes with a lanyard bead that matches that. You got this collaborative Knight Knives, Jason Knight M390 blade that is just super sharp. I want to say this was 2020 or 2021 Blade Show Tactical Knife Design of the Year. It, you know, they make it also in not as, I guess you'd call it, decorative versions. But yeah, this is a beast, guys. It drops. I don't know if you can see the inside of that back spacer has more ruins. Got a great clip, works very well. 2 pieces of titanium and an M390 blade. Medium-sized knife with great ergos. Carries a little bit thick, but it carries well. Don't feel any hot spots in my hand. Fantastic sharpening choil. Fantastic access to that lock bar. Pass through there. And just, again, a beautiful knife. I don't know, we've got another Easter egg right under the clip there. Because that's one thing Michael has said in some of my Instagram posts, is there are all kinds of secrets in the artwork on this knife. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. We'll call it number 5 today. And it is my Michael Zeba Odin S5. Moving on, we come to number 4. And this is the SPK Gen 3 or Gen 4 Lamea. Whichever was the Friday the 13th, 2023 drop. That's what this one comes from. It is titanium. It has this beautifully CNC machined CTS XHP. No, crewwear. This is a crewwear blade. My bad. So it's crewwear. You've got this titanium that has micro milling, and then you've got this black distress show side with micro milling. Again, this was the Friday the 13th 2023 edition from that drop, running on bearings. I think it's a Gen 3, but don't quote me on that. But absolutely a banger of a knife, super slicey, super ergonomic, very, again, simple, understated elegance, kind of like the other made in the USA knives we're looking at. Very much 2 pieces of titanium, great access to the liner lock or to the frame lock. You've got great action, ergos that are fantastic. Definitely classifies as a gentleman's folder, but can also be pushed as more of a harder use knife. And we will call this number 4. That's the SPK Lamea. Brings us to number 3. I take that back what I said earlier. This is probably the oldest knife in this top 10. And this is my old school Liong Field Duty EDC. It's recently had a skiff upgrade. And guys, what I can tell you about this knife is it is fan-freaking-tastic. I've got the pivot a little bit tight, but like I said, I just did a skiff upgrade on it. It will drop shut when those bearings break in. It has a surgically sharp, fantastically formed handle for my hand, where it's just delightful. It's an Ilmax blade, super slicey, super pokey, super stabby. I love the monoblock G10 construction that they use. I love the frame lock, the action. Again, there's nothing like it. I've also got a cuff 3.0 and a Field Duty folder, both of which are awesome. This is different. This knife to me has some special place. I don't know why, but I absolutely love it. And when I was going through my collection, it came in at number 3, which brings us to number 2. I am liking this little knife more and more every time that I carry it. This is my Koenig Mini Arius that I've recently acquired, and it is a slicey little handmade beautiful beautifully engineered little knife. It's recently had a skiff upgrade too. That's why all of these things are jizzing oil. I apologize for that. That's just a Javon issue. I'm going to go heavy on the oil. But this knife was so easy to disassemble, so easy to get back together, so well machined. The action is in a class of its own. This is the flipper version. They also make a flipperless. I picked up the flipper version because it was available, and I'm glad I did, because unlike my Yeager, I didn't really think that I'd want the flipper, but I also enjoy deploying it with the flipper. It just is satisfying, right? I mean, 99% of the time, I will reverse finger flick it, but it's M390 blade stock, grade 5 titanium handle, beautiful micro-milled texturing, micro-milled clip. You've got blue anodized hardware, ton of weight relief in the right places, captive pivot, small batch production, made in the USA. My little mini Arius is just an absolute banger, and it comes in for this video, for this collection, at number 2, which means there could only be one. And it is the CKF Evo 3.0. Guys, with Pro X, Brother Bill's fat carbon fiber scales. I could tell you that there are other knives that I prefer to this, but I would be lying. I think it's the sexiest knife I've ever seen. It has ergonomics that are next level for my hand. Even though it's a full-size knife, but it does not feel too big at all. It just feels comfortable. It is a slicey, screaming beast. You got this tall, flat ground, dark stone-washed, tumbled blade, M390. Beautiful titanium handles with these next level, custom, one-of-a-kind, Pro X Bill scales. And this is all made possible because of our brother Carco, who did something kind and made this knife that I know meant a lot to him available, and I was able to grab it. He knew I was looking for one, and I'm very appreciative. It is definitely the number 1 in my collection, and it is the Evo 3.0. So we've got the Evo 3.0. We've got the Koenig Mini Arius. We've got the Liong Field Duty EDC, the SPK Lamea, the Michael Zeba S5, Medford Slim Midi Marauder, Brian Brown Yeager, the McNees Mac 2, the Null Knives Voodoo, and last but not least, the God of Mischief, the GOM. Guys, that's my top 10. Maybe if we have time one day, we'll do a long collection dive. But these are the best of the best as of now in my book, which is totally subjective. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I'm appreciative that you've come by and taken a little time to check out my content. And I'll ask, please keep an eye out for the guy or gal to your left. Please keep an eye out for the guy or gal to your right. Go forward with love in your heart. And please choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.